Angry Birds actually got started, or I should say Rovio, the company behind Angry Birds, got started. It actually started with a game making competition all the way back in 2003. So that was kind of like when our friends from Nokia, so another great Finnish company, they were still making phones, and they had come out with their first like smartphones. And okay, if you remember history, then that was many years before the iPhone, many years before Android. And then we wanted to organize a competition to make the best possible like game for those new smartphones. So in 2003, organized a competition. So I was working at HP at the time. And then we organized this, and then Niklas, Kim and Jarno, so 3 young guys from Aalto University, they took part in the competition, and they also won the competition. And then after winning the competition, they came to me, so I was the organizer and was on the jury and all of that. Said that, hey Peter, you know, like we're students here at Aalto and we won this competition, like what should we do now? And I said that I only have like one advice, and that's that you should do what you love to do. So, you know, like you guys love making games, so why don't you start a company, you know, to do what you love to do, which was, you know, making games. And yeah, then they started Rovio in 2003. And then over the following 6 years, they made 51 games. And then 11th of December 2009, 52nd game came out, and that was Angry Birds. So yeah, long story, but basically also great example of the fact that they started, you know, the company to do what they love to do, and then also that it wasn't like an overnight success story. It took 6 years, 51 games, so it wasn't, you know, first game, second game, or even third game, but the 52nd game. And yeah, then after that, Angry Birds became pretty big, and actually became the fastest growing consumer brand ever, so expanding to animation, consumer products like the works. And yeah, I was the Mighty Eagle there for many years, and we made Angry Birds the fastest growing consumer brand ever. So yeah, long story. I think that technology is just, you know, like an enabler, if you will. So I mean, there's always kind of like the latest and greatest, and you know, the latest buzzword, of course, now people are talking a lot about, you know, like the ChatGPT and, you know, all of the AI stuff is again, you know, top of the list. And I think that there is a big role for technology to play, but we should always keep in mind that it's a little bit like, you know, if you have kind of like a bad process in business and you kind of like decide to automate it, it's still bad. So I think that it's a little bit the same, that if you have like a less than excellent like educational system and then you just like throw technology at it, it doesn't make it like that much better. Technology is just a way to get there. It's an enabler, but it's not like we're gonna replace all teachers by computers or something like that. I think that there is always like a important role for all of us, for the people to play in this, and then of course we need to apply technology. And I think, for example, again, there's a lot of work that teachers are doing that computers could do better, but then there are many things that you know, a fantastic teacher can do that computers can't. So we should, in everything, including education, we should focus on, you know, basically having humans doing what humans do best, and then machines do what machines do best. So technology is not like a silver bullet or anything like that. It's an enabler, and we need to understand how to use it. I would like to see that I'm kind of like one of the guys there, and basically been working within the ecosystem in Finland, and nowadays talk about like the finest Bay Area, so Finland, Estonia, Sweden. It's actually the most successful startup ecosystem anywhere on the planet. So highest number of startups per capita, highest number of unicorns per capita, and also kind of like the highest amount of venture capital invested into local startups per capita. So I mean, if you look at OECD numbers from 21, then in this venture capital invested per capita to local startups, Estonia was number 1, Finland was number 2, Lithuania was number 3, Sweden was number 4, and the US was number 5. So we're doing pretty well if you use that metric, and it means that people are seeing a lot of opportunity and seeing, that it's makes sense to invest into the local startups. And if you look at now the finest Bay Area, I think it's a fantastic place to start a business. It's also a fantastic place to raise a family. So I think that we should always keep in mind that it's not just about like work, it's also about life. And I think that if you look at, the finest Bay Area and like the Nordic countries in general, it's a great environment, very functioning like societies. It's not like a coincidence that Finland has been ranked, number one when it comes to kind of like happiest nation on the planet now 6 years running. And all the other Nordic countries are also doing really well in that comparison. And I think that this is something that we should keep in mind, that it's not just about work, it's also about life. And I think that this is what you need, starting a company or doing any kind of like work, that it's work and life. And that's kind of like what it's all about. So I would say that the finest Bay Area, you can come to Finland, Estonia, Sweden and start a company, raise a family, and it's probably one of the best, if not the best place to do that. Yeah, I think that like as any entrepreneur, I think that it's very easy to get excited about kind of like new projects and all of that. And I don't think that I'm like doing like super analytical process of like what to do and what not to do. But I think that it also comes with like experience and like doing a lot of things that then you can like have this kind of like gut feeling about what to do and what not to do. And nowadays big focus on making sure that we have enough talent, so really increasing the size of the talent pool and making sure that we have the highest talent density anywhere on the planet. And I think that kind of like the theory there is that the ones with the talent will win, and that would be us in the finest Bay Area. So big focus on increasing the talent pool and making sure that our companies, our current startups, current companies, but also the companies that are about to get started and get going, that they have the talent. And this is again one very important criteria for any company, that okay, where do you start or where do you build your new office? It's all about the people. Where can you find the people that will make your company better? Yeah, so this is one of the startups that I'm actually a small investor and advisor and all of that. It's based in Estonia and it's actually working on telehaptics. So the founder is Johannes Van, and he's the guy who invented many of the gestures that we are using on our phones, like the pinch and the swipe and like all of that back in the day in the early 90s in Finland. And that's, of course, then be popularized by the iPhone and like all of that. Johannes is kind of like the founder of that company. So he's an inventor, and he's basically created this technology that gives blind people sight. And it's something that I'm pretty excited about, because it's something that will change the world. And there are millions of blind people around the world, and this is really like changing the lives of them. And I think it's very moving to see, when you first try this, it's like a headset. And that then, when we have actually many videos that when, like blind person sees his or her hand the first time, like ever, and starts crying. So I think that this is, again, example of what we can do, with innovation, with invention, with technology. And that's one of the startups that I'm the most excited about right now, because it's like a fantastic technology, and also it really has huge impact on the life of blind people everywhere. I've always been wearing red, so like before, Angry Birds and during and after and all of that. But it's very important always to stand out and to kind of like differentiate. And I actually, when I was working at Rovio on Angry Birds, then I went to this event in I think it was like Berlin or something, and I was on a panel like today. And then I asked the people there to take a picture of the panel discussion, and then I went back to Espoo, to Rovio headquarters in Finland. And then I showed the picture to the marketing team. And, in the picture you saw panel discussion. So there's, three guys, wearing, normal like business attire. So, dark suit, tie and all of that stuff. And then there's one guy, me, in red hoodie. And I told the team that this is, how you differentiate. And then after that, then Juhana Kotilainen, who's, part of the marketing team at Rovio, then he ordered like red Angry Birds hoodies for like everybody. And you could always find the Rovio people at any event because you could spot like the red hoodie. And I have tens, maybe even hundreds of like stories and examples of that actually working. So I met with so many people, at various events that, it's so easy to find me because of the red color. I mean, if you look around here at Saplie now, also that there's not that many people wearing red, so it's very easy to stand out. But I think that this is also kind of like my marketing and branding philosophy, that there are so many products, and if you look at any market, there is not like a shortage of products or services. There's actually an abundance of stuff, and then it's very, very important that you stand out. And I think that you need to, as a startup, you need to think about like, how does your company stand out? How do you stand out as a person? So that is kind of like something that you really need to do a lot of work. And I think that it's very important that you actually live, as you preach, and you have to live the brand. You have to kind of like do that yourself. So I think that is something that is very important. And like then wearing the red hoodie is kind of like part of how I see you should do marketing and branding. So that's kind of like the story. Yeah, it's great to be here.